Buddha.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jaguar Journeys. This is where we get to talk all things University of Belize related, and I'm so excited today because we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. It's all about demystifying research. And so, what better person than the most recent addition to the University of Belize, Dr. De Four Babb?
Thank you very much for the invitation, Ima. And yes, I am recently appointed the research director, the interim research director at the University of Belize. And it's a new office, but it's a very important office because one of the pillars of work that a university does is to ensure that we're constantly doing
Right.
research. So I'm looking forward to this exciting
Wonderful.
event.
Me too. And of course, guys, we always talk about the importance of having student representation on our panel in our discussions because they are the main stakeholder here at University of Belize. And so I'm very pleased to have with us.
So my name is Shanee Rhaburn, and I'm a student under the Natural Resource Management program, and I'm a student at the University of Belize.
Wow, welcome, Shani. So,
Thank
Doc,
you.
you ask anybody, what is research about? You think it's work?
A lot of
Tell us a
work.
little bit about it.
So I'm not going to do this. His work. But it's a structured and systematic investigation into whatever you're studying. And that could be something that it's scientific, which is what everybody thinks research is,
Right.
only
Yeah.
scientific research. So I'm here to demystify that we also have qualitative research that focuses on people's perceptions of particular concepts and conceptual phenomena.
Shani, I know you have some experience in terms of research.
So I've been doing well. I'm trying to get approved for a topic for my thesis, my bachelor's thesis, and it's for environmental education in Belize, looking at rural versus urban. So I want to look at that topic in Belize and try to find study. And I've seen that it's research, but I've also been looking at past research in that topic, and I've seen that the research actually answers questions that you have, right? And so I started to see the importance of
Yeah,
research
right.
because of that thesis.
And what Shani has mentioned is an important thing that a lot of students and faculty forget, that we have to think about research in terms of what others have done
Right.
in the past, and then what our others can build on our own findings in the future.
Yeah.
So, that's how we move as we go along.
I think what is even more important, though, Doc, is making it relevant, making it make sense. So,
Right.
how do we talk to people out there? Because I've always received these what do you call it? The surveys and the questions. Sometimes, to be honest, like I don't have the time to that. So, but I mean, what is the importance there?
Why is it important to do research? Because we want to make sure that we are making sound decisions, and the sound decisions have to be based on experience, and that experience has to come from the people who are experiencing
Right.
the
In the field.
experience.
Right.
So you're not going to talk to somebody who knows nothing about it, and our responsibility as man in the street is to assist when we
Yeah.
get those surveys, because if you're doing a large scale quantitative survey, then you'd want to have as many responses as possible from people who are experiencing. So I encourage everybody when they get those surveys to
To
do
answer
them and
them.
do them honestly.
Right.
Yes.
Take time and get it
Yes,
done.
yes.
Before we get digging deep into the whole research aspect, though, new office that you're holding, talk to us a little bit about what this entails.
Yeah. So this office is new in that the last time somebody sat in the office was in 2012. And the person sat there for only 1 year.
Wow.
The time before that, they had started 2000 to 2005, and that person also left. So the office is, I don't want to say starting from scratch, but certainly given that the university started in the year 2000, we are 23 years wiser
Yeah.
in terms of
Right.
the research that we have done. So it's really interesting now. The office will bring all of those efforts together, all those departmental and research institute efforts together, as well as put down policy and
Yeah.
manuals
Yeah.
for how we go about doing
Yeah.
research, you know.
Step to step.
And the research that we do at the university is a lot of student research, like what
Yeah.
Shanee is involved in, and the courses that I teach, but also a lot of faculty are doing
I was
research.
just about to ask.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the type of research that we get going because this is big.
It
I think it's a
really
driving force for any progressive
really is.
university.
It really is. And so what we have is a lot of independent researchers, and they're working on things like in the Environmental Research Institute. Chani has spoken about the research on sea cucumbers and research on microplastics coming out of FST. And pharmacy, Dr. Husani has a few publications coming out of that. But it's, when you look at it, you realize that it's not a faculty-led program. At the Faculty of Education and Arts, which I have been a member for the past 4 years, we are actually creating a research project, so a faculty based research project in which we as those participating will learn the how to do research.
Yeah,
the
Nice.
practice,
That's important.
right?
Yes.
Practice, as well as we'll be making a real contribution to our understanding of what faculty, students, and staff in terms of the experiences of COVID. That's what all.
I was just going to say, you're talking about real experiences.
Real experience.
What would be a perfect example? Maybe you could shed a little bit more light in terms of that particular research.
So what we're going to do, and I mean, it's still in the planning stages because remember, systematic review means that you have to think well about what you want to research and then
How
see
How
you're
you're going to
going to-
do it.
Right. So that's the stage we're in. But what we recognize is that we had this thing called the pandemic happen to us, right? All of us. And of course, we were in it, and probably some people may have taken note, but we were so consumed with ensuring that
We were safe.
we were safe
Yeah.
and that we did what we had to do, that nobody really identified how they were coping or what were the experiences of students. So now
Yeah.
that we are past it and we're getting back in, we're going to do some reflection on
Yeah.
what that interruption of learning did to us and what lessons did we learn from that and what will happen in the future. Now, in the Caribbean, of course, disrupting learning
Yeah.
usually can happen as a result of earthquake, as we saw in Haiti, hurricanes. Those are the things that we are
Right.
accustomed to, and it could affect any of our Caribbean
Yeah.
countries, including Belize. And so what do we learn about how to cope with these disruptions, and especially if we have to move online, which we know
Yeah.
is the
Yeah,
future.
right, right.
What are we learning? So that I'm really excited about that.
And the information is key because parents get to learn about
Yeah.
it, administrators get to learn about, this isn't working, this is why it's not working, how are we going
How
to
we go-
address?
How can we
and
fix it?
We're basing those sound judgments on things that we found out, or we are saying, look, we have researched this within education. Probably we need to know it now on a wider university, or every faculty should be doing it
Yeah.
because the pandemic affected faculties
Everyone.
in different ways, right?
Indeed, indeed.
Definitely. So that's the exciting thing.
I love it. I love it. And I always try to make it make sense for John Doe or Jane Doe out there. If we think about it, Doc, is there any particular area that you think research can drive change in Belize?
You know, one of the things that engaging in research should do for you is to make you a more critical
Thinker. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not just hearing somebody's opinion and going,
Yeah.
I am investigating for myself. So even though I may go in with a bias
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
COVID-19 was bad for everybody,
And it
Mm-hmm.
affected
my
you.
research can show that in some ways there were things that were beneficial. So we're not just looking at this bias
Mm-hmm.
opinion about a particular event. We
Right.
can see both sides,
Mhm.
and we can see where we fit in personally.
Yeah.
So I would say critical thinking, time management.
Oh,
Shannon.
Yes, for
yes.
sure.
Oh, yes.
Time management, and then we are at a university, and we know we have to engage in academic reading and writing.
Definitely. It all comes together
comes
nicely. But I hear what you're saying. I love it. You're singing to the choir here. But when you think about some students, they really struggle when they think, oh, I have to take
Yes.
research methods. Oh, my goodness, this is going to kill me.
They
How
struggle.
do we demystify? How do we create a new culture?
Well, how do we move a mountain? One shovel at a time. How do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do we do a research project?
It's a
One
process.
decision at a time. And it's helping them to understand that, helping them to understand that you cannot delay. This is not an exam that you're going to cram for the night before the
Yes.
exam, right? You've got in week one, you get this done.
Yeah.
Week two. So it's all about time management. And I think that once you do a research project and you're committed to doing it well, you're going to walk out with that kind of understanding. And students are always thrilled at the end to see what they have written.
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
real sense of pride in all the courses that
Yeah.
I teach.
Yeah.
There's a real sense of pride when they look at this finished project and say, "Oh my gosh, I put all of this together." Yeah.
Shani, you want to?
Earlier, Dr. Bobby were talking about publishing, and I know, like, even for myself as a student, I noticed that it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And being able to publish a work would be like the greatest joy ever. So the office coordinates the publishing as well.
Well, the office doesn't quote. Well, let me put it this way: we do at the university have a journal of Belizean research. It was recently launched last November, so
Yay.
there is a publication outlet. We
Wonderful.
also have a publication outlet for students within the management information systems. Dr. Ryan has a whole repository, and again, you can access
Ooh.
that online. So that's something that we would certainly look into. What avenues can we have for student publications
Yeah.
and for faculty publications? Now, the whole world of publication is interesting because I hear you say, I want to publish, but there are lots of predatory journals out there,
Yeah.
right, who are just preying on people because people want a publication. They tell them they have to pay for that publication.
Oh, wow, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my
yes.
goodness.
So you want to make sure that you are publishing in a peer-reviewed journal.
Okay.
That means that it's going into other experts, and those experts are looking. And so, the world of publication is hierarchical.
Yeah.
Because if you're a faculty, you want to publish in a tier 1 journal, but it's also predatory. So you have to be very aware of it. But the process to get published, if you think the process to
do the research
It's
is
long
hard.
and tedious.
the process to get published is something else,
I'm curious to know. Well, this is before we take our break because our break is coming up. But because you also lecture, is the research methods.
I do.
What would be some of the projects? What are some of the areas? Is it something that you would give the students, or
So in the course that I teach, I encourage students to choose their own
Okay.
topic. Because the
Ooh, I
thing
like
about
that.
research is that you have to do something that
You
you're
like.
passionate
Yeah.
about. When you're getting up 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to be having to research something that I do
Yeah.
not want the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first things. Every program varies. So some programs will give the students a research project and let them work on it. Fine. You're still going to go through the
Right.
process. What are some of the things?
some of them? I'm curious. Like,
Think about some. Last year I had somebody looking at what were the experiences of 6 and 7-year-olds during COVID and then coming back to school, and that person used drawing.
wow.
So she analyzed the
Ooh.
drawings from these children. We've had studies looking a lot over the COVID, was a lot about
Yeah.
COVID. But another one that sticks in my mind is that this particular person worked in a school and they had reading problems.
Okay.
And she really wanted to investigate what were the, we as teachers we say, no, Sharon can't read.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Uh-huh.
She really did a deep investigation into what
What is it?
exactly were the reading problems. Could they not recognize the letters? And then when she broke it down, she really understood within her class what were the issues, and then, again, was that systematic investigation. So for practical purposes,
It's deep.
you
It's
know, it's
deep.
deep.
Yeah.
And of course, there's research. I can speak about research and education in RM.
Yeah.
In all over.
In all
I,
faculties, in
I
all
think
areas.
the takeaway point here though is the importance of research across the spectrum, and of course you mentioned critical thinking skills because this is something
Yeah.
we can apply whether you are an NRM major, you're an English major. We all know that today we need to be able to critically think if it is we want to make real changes in society. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, please stay with us. We're going to talk about some very interesting, innovative ideas that's coming through the new Office of Research. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Professor Camille Naked, School of Social Sciences and Public Policy at Auckland University of Technology in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I am here in Belize to launch our book, Affirming Methodologies, Research and Education in the Caribbean. I'm at the Faculty of Education and Arts at the University of Belize. The book, Affirming Methodologies, Research and Education in the Caribbean, is about affirming our local ways of knowing, using culturally relevant methodologies, culturally relevant ways to share knowledges, using methods and ways that are relevant to us, ways that we know, ways that affirm who we are, ways that center who we are, ways that have us in an inclusive relationship with others. So we are not imposing our own ways on anyone, and we are not centering other people's any Western-centric, Eurocentric, US-centric ways of knowing. We are using what is culturally relevant to us to share our knowledges. We must look at Caribbean ways of knowing and our collaborations with all of the Caribbean nations, including Belize.
It's very important that if we recognize that there is an absence in this conversation for our indigenous community, for our cultural communities, how can we bring their voices, because they need representation, how can we bring their voices to the fore if not by affirming ways of acknowledging the wealth and breadth of information and value and history and culture that they have that enriches a Belizean society every day.
And welcome back to our episode of Jaguar Journeys. Today we're talking about demystifying research. And with us, we have Dr. Joyanne De Four Babb, the most recent addition to the University of Belize, and she holds the office of Director of Research. And of course, we have Mrs. Shanee Rhaburn with us. Now, that before we went for break, we were talking about some interesting stuff. And I was wondering, how important is it? Yes, we are a young university, but we're progressing. How important is it for us to have that culture of research?
Yes, so in the US and in the UK, for example, you have these research intensive universities, or R1 universities, they're called. And if you're working there, you are expected to be engaged in some kind of research project. And the governments will turn to the research intensive universities to drive, some of their
And
policies.
that's where I long to see our national
But-
university.
And we will get there, But we have to remember that in the Caribbean, we do not have a strong research culture. We always waiting for somebody
We
to
have to
tell
develop
us
it.
how to do it or how to do
That
it.
is so
We are
true.
not, I mean, and even our own personal lives, our parents, guide and directors, we're not doing that investigation. So we're not a really investigative by nature.
Yeah.
And so we have to build that capacity in our students and our faculty before we get to that point. But we will get there. We've
Yeah.
made the start, and I think that the research office is a clear demonstration
Yeah.
by the leadership in the university
Right.
that we are taking research seriously.
We definitely have to keep that momentum going.
We have to keep
For
the
sure.
momentum,
For
and,
sure.
and that's why this Demystifying series is perfect.
Yes.
Because at least in the podcast, you can capture this important part of what we're doing at the university.
Definitely. So, Doc, I want to ask you, what's your vision? Where do you see your office taking research? I'm asking that because I think it's important and it's a huge selling point for parents, for soon to be prospective students to know that, listen, you're not just coming to a university, to UB, you're coming to a university where we have lecturers who are engaged
Yes.
in research.
And so, I've sat in the seat less than a month,
Mm-hmm.
but I have used the time to really talk to my colleagues and talk to the faculty. Research is happening. My vision is, as it always was, because I'm an active researcher as well as publisher, writer, chapter. So I live what I envision, that more people will get onto that bandwagon of publications and presentations and everything else so that becomes the natural conversation
Yeah.
around the cooler. What research project are you
Uh-huh.
involved in?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to normalize that. And then we want to strengthen the quality of research programs that we have for our students.
Yeah.
So our students are not afraid, or that they embrace research.
It would be so cool if we would have, we have these clubs.
Yes.
Let's come together and
Within
have a
university.
research club where we're going to look in our communities, we're looking at our societies, and we're trying to identify what is a growing problem.
Yes. And
Yeah.
How are we going
how
to
do we
solve and
investigate? Yes.
create real,
relatives.
yeah.
But I mean, the students are doing that through their various projects. So one of the other things that we'd have to do is create a repository for student research and lists of research that is happening so that we know what students are doing. But in terms at faculty level, and my focus really is faculty level, seminars,
Yes.
weekly seminars in this sort
Yes.
of program that I invite colleagues to come and talk about the research that they have either published or that they're engaged in. And so we get this conversation. Everybody knows me around.
Yeah.
They see me and they think, oh, what research? Because I'm active. And that's the
Yeah.
other thing. We can have as much money, we can have the space, but if people are not motivated to do the research, and I can tell you there's no money in it, so money cannot be the motivation.
Yeah.
But if you're not motivated to be a researcher, then you're not going to do it. And I think that is what I bring to the job. As
Yeah.
it is currently, I'm editing a handbook. I'm writing, I'm presenting in April. So, I am living the life that an academic
Yeah.
would live. And so you want to encourage people to do that.
Yeah, and on that note of encouragement, I know as a lecturer myself that, your plate full, Doc. Your
Yes.
plate is full.
Always.
How do we, from the inside out, continue to motivate and
Yeah.
inspire our lecturers to deal with
to
the
deal with
research?
it. It's not only you who doesn't have time.
Yes.
The person who is the head of some big organization also
Don't
doesn't have
have
time. But you've got to find the time. And I tell you every time we talk, where does my time come from? For my international people, I've met 6:30 a.m. with my UK collaborators. We have regular meetings once a week, 1 hour per week to work on this. And you would be surprised, 1 hour per week, that
It's a lot.
is a lot, and it shows your dedication to what you want to do. So yes, we will never have time. We will always have too many papers to mark, but you've got to find the time. And every researcher, the person with 1,000 publications, will tell you the same. I found the time.
Yeah.
to research.
Yeah.
And then you come back to your passion. You're not going to research something
You
that
don't
you're
like.
not interested in or that you're not living.
Yeah.
You've got to research something that you're passionate about, something that will change your own practice.
Yeah, I
you know.
agree. I
And so
agree.
that's the message that I will keep sending to my colleagues and to the students, that
Yeah.
you've got to make the time and be consistent about it. And then next year you will have move from one research project to two. And in 5 years' time, you'll have
Amen.
5. And that's how you build up. In this job, that's our currency. We're not making big dollars,
Yeah.
but we have publications.
Dr. Babb, just from this conversation, I'm feeling motivated.
I am happy
I was
for you.
feeling a little bit bummed because I was saying every week there's something the lecturer needs,
Yes.
or every week I have to complete this. But just hearing you and how you're so active in research, I'm saying, okay, Shanee, you can do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do this.
You can. And you really have to make it a priority, and then you make it part of your lifestyle. So
Yeah.
I have my set meetings, Monday mornings, Wednesday morning, whatever there, and on my calendar every week. Like this morning, I got into the office forgetting that we had canceled this week's off. I used the same time, that 1 hour, to do something on the paper that we were working on, rather than say, free time.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I just spent the time on that paper. So, you know, it requires that sort of dedication.
Commitment.
And
Commitment.
it does. And so when we're committed to learning a dance, or we're committed
Yeah,
to
we
doing
practice,
something,
we practice.
don't we practice?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
the same way with research.
Yeah.
You've got to practice, and the practice is in the conversations, in the reading, in whatever.
Indeed. I would love to hear what your vision is. Let's say the next 5 years at
For
the
this-
university. Where should we be situated?
Well, we should have some kind of repository to see who is publishing among faculty, and where, you know, we should have access to what they're publishing. We should also have a repository for student
Yeah.
research. We should have well-established policies in place, because you talk about time. I didn't hear you say cost and money.
Right.
Yes.
But people need time and money to research. And so what do we have at the policy level for that in terms of our responsibility for teaching? And if we're talking about really putting effort into research, then we have to put those career ladders in place,
Yeah.
so that those people who are researching get some kind of reward for their research.
I'm thinking in terms of networking, because for me, it's all about national development. And I'm thinking that, I'm hoping that there is plan within your scope to sort of develop important relationships with the government, with the NGOs,
Yes.
to really come together and
Yeah.
say, okay, this
Because-
is the area we need research to be
For sure.
done
And,
in.
you know, we were at a conference the other day, and we had the same kind of conversation about the importance of knowing what the national needs are. Now, we can't
Yeah.
tell Ministry of Health what their national needs
Right.
are. We need to have that conversation with them for them to let us know. But that is important. But when you said the word collaborating, we also can collaborate and build our research capacity among faculty by building on those memorandums of understanding that we have with existing universities, and get partnerships. You know,
Right.
we have a Fulbright scholar. We have 2 Fulbright scholars with us
Right now,
this
yeah.
semester here at UB, and the one at FA is working with us to work on our research proposal. And it's in this way, because collaboration is the way to go.
Yes.
Research seems
Could never do it
burdensome
alone.
when you're on your own, but when
Yeah.
you have collaborative
Yeah.
research projects, you go further.
Right.
You know, together. I mean, on my own, I can go this fast, but
Imagine
together, I
with-
will go further.
Yeah.
Right? And so you really want to build on that. I think that that's a way. So that's another part of the vision, that we do have this sort of collaboration. So enhance capacity among staff, the institutional framework.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have to monitor and evaluate
Evaluate,
what
right.
we're doing all the time to see what's working or not working. So
Excellent.
I'm really pleased for this start and this opportunity.
Of
I
course.
look forward to the other installments in
Right,
this Demystifying
right.
Yes.
research.
And we're hoping to get representation from all of
the
our
other
faculties, and
Yeah.
we're going to be pinpointing areas, ongoing research areas that we think is important. Shanee, want to say anything before we're getting
I'm
ready
just-
to wrap up?
To be honest, I'm watching Dr. Babb and I'm just motivated.
Yeah.
Because I was already bummed about the homework.
And that's
all
why
of
I
that.
think we need
But-
to get the students.
But it's very admirable to see, you're doing research, you're passionate about it. You find the time that 1 hour that probably watch a Netflix movie.
That's right, exactly.
But you use the time wisely, which
You
is
definitely
very
do.
important. And then you touched on something as well, where you said, like with the example of Ministry of Health. So I think what can help is to look at those different departments, ministries, and see what they want to accomplish, and we align our research to that and
Definitely.
get some funding.
Yes.
So I could see us
Definitely.
moving
Yeah.
towards that.
And so it's that dialogue to happen. I mean, we have the Belize medium-term development plan. There
Yeah.
are lots of things.
Plan Belize, we have the
Plan
Horizon
Belize,
2030.
Exactly. Shanee
There's a
knows
lot.
that, right? So there's a lot that needs to be done. And, the real great thing is that, again, because we haven't had that strong research culture, everything is original.
Yeah.
Everything is
Yeah.
new. And others may have been doing it. And at the very basic level, if they've done it somewhere else, we can do a similar study, and contribute to the international body of research.
Yeah.
And so I hope that when we click Belize in whatever searches, we
Right.
see even more coming out of the university.
And I think what's also important for my colleagues is really we need to support our people.
Yes, we do.
Oftentimes we will get notified via email, congratulations to Dr. So-and-so for their recent, but how many of us really stop to open? Because
It's
there's
only
always
because
that
of
link.
the course. It's only because of the class I'm
you
taking
are.
now that I actually click it and want to
Yeah.
see what the
And you
research
can
was
see
about.
what the research was about.
Yeah.
And I think these I mean, this is what happened in other universities. Yeah, they have faculty level seminars, so that's something that I would encourage all faculties to have. They have weekly seminars where
Yeah.
you're showcasing your particular person. But then we need that at the university level, at the
Indeed.
Jaguar auditorium. One person from each faculty talking about their research, recently published research. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's something that we
And
will
I
see
love
in the
that.
next year.
I still want to go back to the point where I think we need to rejuvenate our students
Yes,
and
of
get them on
Let
stream.
Dr. Bob speak because she already encouraged me.
Get them on stream.
Coming out of, if we are to build, the university only has 2 master's level programs and plans to bring another
Yeah.
one on stream. That's the other thing when I say the culture is missing. In these big universities, they have huge master's level programs. They have doctoral programs. So research is part of what is going
Right.
on. We are not there yet. So
We're
yes,
growing.
we are growing.
We're
So
gonna
we
be
have
there.
to find out who are the enthusiastic
Yeah.
researchers in our bachelor level students.
Yeah.
Pull them into our
Right.
master's level students. Who are the enthusiastic ones in our master's level? Pull
Pull
them to
them,
begin
yeah.
a doctoral program. That is where we are so excited. to
Me,
be in this
me
pioneering
too. Me
space.
too. I'm going
I
to
know I
be
choose
right
the right
there.
university. I knew I did. I knew it.
Shani.
That's the message we also need to get out. So the other part of the vision is to publicize. This again is
Yes.
an excellent platform for us. When I hear keep that sound bite, I knew I chose the right university.
Yes,
because
I
they're
did.
serious about
That's
research.
right. That's
We're
right.
growing all together.
That's right. And the thing is when we feel good and we are making advancements, so is the university.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah.
a beautiful collaboration.
I'm happy you say that. Every conference that I go to, every book chapter that we write, it says University of Belize. And so it's there, it's out there, the name, and that's how we build reputation.
It's something we
Yeah.
should be proud
Yes.
of, but I
Yes.
just don't think we talk
We-
about ourselves, we big up ourselves enough, but we're going to do that
Now
via
we're
this
going to do it
podcast.
through
Yes.
the research
We're
office.
We're going to
going
tell
to.
people our journey.
Yes, ladies,
And our
our Jaguar journey. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us,
you so
Doug.
much.
It's been real, and I'm looking forward to
Inspirational.
who's gonna come up on our next
Yes.
show.
I have to.
But all good things must come to an end.
Ah.
It's been real. It's been so informational and educational and motivational too.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm hoping it's going to last with me the long
Well,
haul.
once you're hanging out with me, Eva.
I have this excitement of a high. I hope it lasts till Friday.
We're in a bubble right now, guys. If you want to be in
and
this
while we
bubble,
are in the bubble, we need to
Yes,
make that
keep it
balance.
going.
We
Yes.
need the energy to rise
Exactly.
above whatever and to move forward.
for sure.
Yes.
Until next time, join our journey at the University of Belize. Take care.
Buddha.